Hello, and welcome back to Blueprints. It's been about a week for me, which I guess recently is pretty quick, actually. Normally it takes a little longer these days for me to get back to playing. Thank you to Strategist1164 for clarifying something about the Trophy of Speed. And by clarifying, I just mean like kind of dispelling my idea. This says reach room 46 in under an hour, and I at first assumed that meant just start any old day, get to room 46 in under one real life hour, and then I get the trophy. And then I tried that and it didn't work. So then I assumed, oh, by 1 hour, they must mean one in-game hour because they have all these clocks everywhere. So that must be it. And I have now tried that a few times, but I guess on probably the first real attempt at that, or maybe some other video, I'm not sure, but I got a comment saying that is not necessarily how that works, and that typically people get it going for one of the other trophies. And so that kind of clarified something for me. I feel like that's okay. I don't normally like getting help like that, but in this case, I feel like the game is pretty misleading, and I'm not positive I ever would have actually understood what they were going for here, but I'm going to assume now that means I have to do it in under an hour in real life, but like from starting the game, so on day one. So I guess that means all the trophies I have left are now going to be on new save files. So that's exciting. I am excited now because that really got me thinking about the day one trophy and about how interesting that really is, because it's not as simple as, okay, I can use all my knowledge of how the game works to just get to room 46 a little easier, because there's so many things that I actually have unlocked that won't be unlocked right at the start. And the biggest one in my mind is the north lever, which is an absolute requirement for reaching room 46. So I'm kind of excited to, and I've already started thinking through how I would do that, but I'm kind of excited to really get started on a day one trophy attempt, and then kind of figure out how we get to the north lever from there. But for now, I think I'm going to continue on my main playthrough just because I want to get everything I can out of it reasonably before starting a new playthrough. And I mean, I still have some questions left unanswered that I more or less know how to follow up on those. So I think I will. Okay. Last time I called it a day in the planetarium just to get the 2 extra stars. So now that's available to me here, but I don't necessarily need it here. And one of these might be better. Hovel is a fun one, but Shelter opens up a lot of red rooms that I normally wouldn't take. Let's do Shelter, actually. I'm really curious about that one. Not curious, but just like, it's been a while since I've done like a good Shelter run, so I kind of want to try that out now. Plus there's some stuff to read in here too. Yes, I recently watched the video where I first read this, and I got very confused about the family tree, but it seems that Courtney is Mary's cousin. But I'm curious about how that works, because they're also Herbert's niece, which definitely makes me confused about the family tree still, actually. Doesn't really clarify anything to me. Yes, and this one is about the 3 of you down in the shelter, whoever the 3 of you are. Probably Mary and probably 2 of the other people who went after the crown. I'm trying to remember if there were 3 or 4 of them, but that is something I'll have to follow up on. As far as the family tree goes, the reason it's confusing to me is because I think Herbert only has the 1 sibling, unless I'm completely mistaken about that. Which would mean he might have children, but I don't think he does. They're not on the family tree. And obviously Mary is his heir, so that wouldn't really make sense if he had children. And then he has a brother named Simon, who is Mary's father. So how does that leave room for there to be someone who is Mary's cousin and Herbert's niece? I mean, it could just be on the other side of the family, or it could be like by marriage. I guess that's what other side of the family means. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. Maybe it's not that important, but I don't know. Seems kind of strange. I'm kind of tempted to walk over here just to read some things as well, because it's been a while. So I do want to walk into Blackbridge and read the logs in there. And I had a thought yesterday in real life, that maybe I would want to, and this would be like a ridiculous thing to do, but make a spreadsheet of all the logs where I have the dates in one column and the logs in another. Well, and the logs that are in the normal admin login, and then the logs that are in that Bo Lee login, because I don't feel like they line up quite as well as they want to let on. So I kind of want to see how that looks. This is the Gardener's Logbook, 1992. Yes, this is from Robert Nogula. Yeah, okay, and this is him saying, oh, my predecessor didn't keep a logbook. Even though he did, he just hid it in the greenhouse. Yep. Eight green rooms within the house that require some level of upkeep and light groundskeeping. The majority of them are only draftable on the perimeter. Terrace, patio, veranda, morning room, greenhouse, secret garden. So 6 of the 8. And the other 2 would be the solarium, maybe? Although I don't remember if that's one of the 8 green rooms, actually. I can check. No, courtyard would be in the middle. And cloister would be in the middle. Solarium, I think, can be probably anywhere. I'm not sure if I've ever had it on the edge, but I know I've had it in the middle. But that's one of the added floor plans. This is the soil quality, which I have not done much with, other than look at it a few times. So, is there something more important about this? There is one spot that has barren ground. So I don't know if that is something important I should be utilizing. I've already messed with the smudge pots. The word outside is italicized, but that's probably not that important. I don't know if there are any other italicized words in here. Doesn't really seem like it. At least other than this giant caption for the picture, but doesn't really seem all that important. Paragon of Gardening is the title for Rinna. I should probably write that down, because I have some of them written down already. So let me see where those notes are. Yes, here we go. So we have Joya is the Paragon of Cuisine, Vea is the Paragon of Ash, although I'm struggling to remember where I associated Paragon of Ash with Vea, but I think that kind of makes sense. And then Rinna is the Paragon of Gardening. Rena is also the first in the list of Aegeran Angels, but that's only in the order that I've heard of or seen in the chapel. Because there's also the natural order, which I've only heard one of the placements in that order, which would be Rena is third, actually. So, my game is getting a little choppy. Hopefully that doesn't persist for too long. Okay. Let's check out this gemstone cavern and read what's in here, because I have completely forgotten what that is. Here's the last of the equipment for the new mine. I don't think we're going to need more than this, especially if we're going to limit excavation to 2 stones per day. I was told by the engineer that getting greedier than that might risk the structural integrity of the cave walls, so I suppose we'll have to adhere to his expert opinion, at least for now. We managed to remove all but 1 minecart from the old tunnels, 2 of which were too rusted and worn down to be of any use to us up here. So Dave went ahead and made the call to scrap them. I'm not sure that the foreman is going to be too happy about that, but hopefully you can smooth it over. Now, there's still 1 more cart down there from the other tunnel, but it's locked on a short track, and it's way too difficult to move from the reservoir side. I see. It's a little bit awkward because it's blocking the passage, so I suggest someone move it from the other side if they can get over there. Yes, I have done that. The boss informed us that there are 2 other ways into the site from that side, but I think we're going to leave that for someone else to finish up if the old man really wants it done. Yes, the 2 ways to get into that side, other than just across the reservoir, I guess, would be the tomb leads over there, and the fountain, I think, leads over there as well. Is that right? It seems right. But there's also the torch room. So that's 3 ways plus the reservoir, like crossing the reservoir. So I don't know. They probably weren't talking about the torch room because that one's kind of secret. And the other 2 are, I mean, kind of also secret, but not to the same extent, I would think. I mean, those ones at least show up on the map as entrances. Nothing that way as far as I can tell. And nothing that I can do at this door as far as I can tell. So I'm going to assume that I don't need to worry about that right now, at least. And here's Blackbridge. Okay, yes, I put those in there. I think I went back to the Arindian ruins at some point. I don't remember why, though. Okay, and here we have Blackbridge. We have several admin keys that we could use. So one of them is going to be this one, I think. Yes. Okay. This I still don't understand. Terminal timeout. The timeout setting controls how long a computer terminal stays connected to the network without disconnecting from the server. The default setting, immediate, requires a new connection each time the user attempts to log into the network. I'm trying to decide what that means, because I still am not sure. I'm going to change it to immediate. Because so far I can't really tell a difference. So maybe once I change it back, I'll be like, oh, I forgot that's how it used to work. And then I can always come back and change it back if I want. These are now all on, which I should think means that I can check the email in all of those places, which I have done. I think only the laboratory got new emails. I think I've checked all of them and only one of them had new emails, but I could be wrong about that. Operational inbound and outbound permissions and offsite communications with Synca are fully functional. Okay, that's not what it used to be, but I fixed that. And yes, so user database. Yep, there are two with admin access. There's the one with personnel access. That's the first one that I used to actually see all these other ones. Ruota and Ravane are both expired keys, because I guess Ruota is technically retired now, and probably also not needed in the Black Bridge, and also Denny Ravane got fired. And then there are 3 additional delisted admin keys, one of which seems like it would be Bo Lee. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. Data files. I still only have one of these available, probably because I only have one save. Duplicate save data. Restore from backup, create backup, clear save data. Import trophy data. I don't have any other trophy data, so not gonna do that. Does anyone else get the thing where, like, every time they say the word data, they're like, somebody's gonna be mad at me because they say it data. And sometimes I do it the other way around too. Probably just me. I tend to overthink things like that. Okay, admin logs. So we start on 120.86, then we go to 126, 130, and then we skip all the way to July. So that's 7-1. Then we skip all the way to February, and that's 210, then 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, 3-6, 3-7, 3-9, 3-14, and then all the way to July, 7-10, 7-11, 7-12, 7-25, 8-27, 8-28, 9-1, 1-20, 1-4, 7-3. Right, archive access is the one that Bo Lee supposedly has. Okay. Added new data management features. Okay, so I don't know if I got all that in my head correctly, but now I would like to try this one. Okay, this looks the same, and I can also click on these. So I wonder if all these descriptions are also the same. They kind of seem like it. This all looks the same. Oh yeah, I forgot that Catherine Thompson, I think is her name. Former executive assistant to H.S. Sinclair, which is pretty interesting. Here's Ann Babbage. Here's Hartley. And here's Denny Ravane. And I can't click on the 3 additional delisted admin keys. But theoretically, that is what I am using now. So, in terms of network settings, we still have the same settings, it looks like. Okay, yeah, that all looks the same. I just want to check everything to make sure I didn't miss anything that was different on this profile. And yep, this is all the same. Okay, so we start on 120, 126, 130. That looks correct. Then we skip to July, yep. Then to February. This is all different. And C Prov, or Prov C, is not one that... Yeah, it's not one of the normal ones. There's Lee B, Prov C, and Hown U. Which I've tried Prov C and Hown U, and those are both not I'm not able to log in with those. Not sure. Planning something later this year. We need to make sure communication on here is not being archived. Already taken care of. We are now bypassing message archiving. Randolph, comma, shouldn't notice anything out of the ordinary. So talking to Randolph, it seems like. That's what that punctuation implies to me. So this is February. 2/16, 2/17. No one on the estate knows we're here except Mary, who saw Lee on Tuesday. But How Knew You has a plan to take care of her. Then on 2/18, Lee says, if it must be done, it must be done. Just see to it that the body is not discovered. The last thing we need is for the Red Guard to be snooping around here. She won't be found, rest assured. So that definitely implies that their plan is to kill Mary because she knows too much and hide the body. But that is almost certainly not what happened. Because the reason I am here is because Mary wrote in her book to use Lee B as my login for this, to figure this stuff out. So, I mean, I guess there is the possibility that she suspected they might be up to something and then put that in her book just in case, but doesn't seem likely. Camping out of the old schoolhouse. Spacious quiet should prove to be an effective base of operations outside of the purview of staff and the Baron. Which I don't think I've seen anything out of the ordinary in the schoolhouse, but not sure about that. Okay, first of all, there's stuff in June here, which was not a date that I saw in the other admin logs. I think I saw some from March, and then it skipped to July. So I'm not sure. I think Moore is planning a scheduled maintenance soon, so we should likely wrap things up. Huh. Not sure. And then this all looks similar, although I don't know if the dates are the same. Huh. Okay, and just to cover my bases, we're going to try How New, admin not found. It's not a delisted one because this is what happens when you put a delisted one in. It's been deactivated. Sorry, deactivated. It hasn't been deactivated. It just doesn't exist at all. And then Prov C, not found. So, what's up with that? I have no idea. I should try some more interesting names. Like what? That's probably too old. There's... I think I've tried Clara before. There's also that, which I think I've tried on accident before. That would be the father. Who else is there? There's Simon Sinclair, is that his name? No. And then Herbert is obviously not in here. That one's not one of them. And that one's not one of them. What about that? No. Okay. I'm trying to think of anyone else in this story who might have an admin key. No. No. Okay. I'm done trying things, although there was one other name that I've forgotten, and I don't think I wrote it down, but I can see that name in the closed exhibit. There's a note in there written by someone whose name I do not remember. But it was, I think, unique to that place and maybe one other place, but I don't remember which place that was either. So I'll have to look for those things at some point. I am starting out with a shelter today, so I need to be very careful about the red rooms that I decide to draft. Although, to be completely honest, I am not really sure what I want to accomplish other than maybe getting the treasure trove, and that's probably about it. So, you know, maybe the red room thing isn't too important. Oh, okay. Whew. I was worried that that was like frozen beyond repair, but I think we're all good. Let's go ahead and get an observatory, although I do need keys. But I'd like to get an observatory so I can continue to amass my wealth of stars. Okay, there we go. Got a key anyway. And that's the trunks, yes. Alrighty. I don't have anything in my inventory. I could use the Banner of the King. What would I want to do with that? I mean, I could do red rooms. I don't know what benefit I would get out of that. Let me check my to-do list and make sure that I am aware of everything that I'm wanting to do. Ooh, I might want to revisit all of the grids of letters for the castle puzzle, just so I can make sure that I have those correctly recorded. And I might want to take pictures of them too, so that I can reference back something other than my notes. Because I'm still a little confused about that one. Looking for treasure trove, looking for, well, if I get a schoolhouse, then I can do some more blue memos, possibly. There's a blue door I don't really know anything about. There is new save files. I can also read page 6 of a new clue, since apparently there's a secret on that page, but it might be one that I've already found. And those are the things. So, let's get to it. It's been a while since I've seen a library too, so that's kind of something I'd like to get if possible. Let's go ahead and head this way. I'll take that, and let's read this too. Dearest Mary, I know the events of the past year have catapulted you into a world you may not have been ready for. It's cruel the way time rips through our lives, leaving them barren and fruitless like wind-scarred plains. Throughout this all, I know your principal concern has always been Simon. You didn't need to confide in me yesterday for me to realize that fact. Everyone who knows you understands this. I will take full responsibility to ensure that regardless of how your current project pans out, Simon is shielded from any fallout and, God forbid, repercussions. A child should never suffer the iniquity of their parents. I, of course, write you all this in hope that I can set your mind at peace when imagining the worst-case scenarios, not because I think such an outcome is likely. No, Mary, I have few apprehensions and fewer fears. Assuming everything goes according to plan, you should be reunited with Simon again before his 10th birthday, which we know did not happen. Or we're pretty sure it didn't happen. I guess I don't know that for a fact. I have no idea what Simon knows. And while 2 years might seem like an eternity to a mother, I've always heard the days pass by more quickly in the East. That's right. The days pass by more quickly in the East. Aren't they in the East? I'm also confused about the map a little bit. The East might be where, like, Kararaka and Morajai and all those places are, but they're just set up like kind of in reverse in the classroom. So I tend to think of those other ones as being in the west. But it's possible they're to the east. As for me and you, I've already come to terms that our meeting yesterday was very likely our last. I am too old and too stubborn to ever leave this place. I am too attached to the home our family has built up. Room by room. Why is that on a separate page? Seems kind of weird. Yes, I have a strong premonition I will be buried in red soil under red flags, a compromise I know you yourself would never accept. It's been a joy watching you grow up and getting to know you. Your mother and I spoke of little else during your school days. I know she'd feel the same bittersweet pride I feel now, to see you following in your father's footsteps and making the same sacrifices he did. Farewell, my marigold. We may yet meet again, your Uncle Herbert. Yeah, so following in your father's footsteps and making the same sacrifices he did seems very odd. I know very little about Simon, as in Simon Sinclair. Yeah, there's something weird about the way that these two pages line up, but could have just been a spacing decision. Not sure. Okay. Moving on. I would love to see a library, and I'm not too worried about everything else, so I am willing to redraw. Probably should select blue if I want to see a library, huh? That would make sense. Security fits well here, so I will take it. I'm also realizing I could have logged into the network from the shelter, but that's fine, because I'm here now. Right, I don't have a key card or anything else, so let's do this. And this. And then, yeah, there are two trunks in the entrance. That's fine. Let's go ahead and log into the network. I might also log into the security system thing again. Just because there's some things I want to see. Still no new staff announcements. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything in here. There's the letters on the cloister statue. There's the letters on the back of the bookcase in the secret passage. There's that, and yeah, that's the thing about the keys. Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything in there. Let's put in a special order. Let's keep going for magnifying glass. Speaking of which, I do want a commissary if I'm going to be looking at a new clue so that I can get a magnifying glass. And then no data transfers, that's fine. And there's no new emails in here. Okay. So, let's do remote terminal. And shelter is offline. Probably because I didn't log in, right? That's fine. Let's connect to the terminal, or let's connect to laboratory. So we can begin an experiment, because I do still want to be draining the reservoir, which I should probably write on my to-do list as something that I'm working towards. That's not one of the options I get though, so instead let's raise my allowance. No, let's set my dice to 2. And let's do it every time I draft What do I want more control? What do I have more control over? Probably tomorrow room, right? I think that'll be fine. Okay. That's right. I also want to check this. What is it? HSS? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for this one, I think. I want to see what's happening here. Because the other two things from this year had clues that were specifically meant for me, it seemed like. But this one just seemed like nothing was really happening. Mary is at the table writing or reading. Can't really tell. I think she's writing. I think maybe that's just a clue that you need to look through other books based on the clue that's in a new clue. I think she might be writing down like X and Y and all that stuff. I've already forgotten, but it's connected directly to the map that she holds up in the other video. I think that's what's happening there. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay, that's really the only thing I wanted to check. I'm satisfied with that. Alrighty. Let's look in here. Coat check would set my dice to 2, so let's do it. I don't know why I walked in here, because I don't need to at all. I should be looking around a little more carefully, just in case there are things that I've missed. Because I have a tendency now to just walk through a room like I already know everything that's in there, which is not necessarily true. We've got coat check right here. We've got some items in coat check, but none of them look particularly important. They're all numbered, but that's just how coat checks work. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that too much. I don't see anything right here, even though this would be a great place to put something. Okay. Should do the same thing in here. In fact, there are things on the bulletin board that I probably want to look at again, although I may have already looked at that. Yep. And yep. Okay. I don't see... I think specifically I'm looking for things like letter grids, because obviously that would be really helpful to have. But I don't think I see anything in here. Nothing behind the monitors. Yeah, okay. I think that was decently thorough. And every time I think that, I'm like, ooh, there's a place I didn't really check. But yeah, I think that's fine for now. Let's go this way. And we have already done the stuff in the laboratory, although we can always look around some more in there. Could do the kennel, because we could check that letter grid again. I mean, yeah, sure, since that's one of my goals. Might as well. Can say hi to the dogs. Hello. What are their names? Drawbridge. Something else. One of them is Drawbridge, which I think is a hilarious name. But I don't really remember all the others. Okay. Sure, I'll eat an apple. And here is this. I'll go ahead and take a picture of it so that I have it. But it definitely looks like that's the C and the A of castle. And the T is one column over at the very bottom. Because, here's my mouse. We have C, A, S would be right here, T would be roughly right here, L, and then E. So yeah, this looks like the bottom row. Bottom row, second column is where that T is. I'm willing to believe that. Okay, what now? We could do boiler room, although I don't know if I need to use that for anything. Not that I can think of. Let's go ahead and just do pantry. Yes, we've read that recently. Is there anything else I need to see in here? There is coffee. So that's nice. Some classic coffee. We've got the drawings. We've got sugar. Just reading anything with writing on it that I think might be useful. Lux coffee. And that seems to be all the writing I can see. Yep. Not noticing anything else. There's some more Lux coffee up there, actually. Alrighty. Well, this pantry has been pretty cleared out, which is probably for the best. I mean, there's obviously like jars of stuff, but that's like ingredients that you can keep for a long time. Here's some tea. Okay. Seems good. Yes, I would love a treasure trove. Let's do it. But I probably don't want to use my only key just yet. Although maybe I do, since this is like kind of my primary goal is to just get to a treasure trove every day. Everything else can kind of wait. In fact, if I can't go any further today, then I would just have to start a new run and get a new treasure trove. So at this point, I am fine with that. Okay, handwritten red note is true. The monk waits beyond the second chamber. The monk waits beyond the second chamber. That is true. The second chamber. Probably getting antechamber, unlocking the north door, and going through... Sorry, I should be more clear. Getting antechamber as an outer room, unlocking the north door, and going through that antechamber leads to the monk with the poem about the scepter and the crown and the stone and the throne. Yeah, that seems like that's probably what that's talking about. Still don't know what the scepter is. It might be what's in the treasure trove, actually. If I unlock that chest. Which, my guess is that the chest is unlocked with the black key that's in the tomb that I haven't solved the puzzle for yet. The clock puzzle. That's my guess. Not entirely sure, but that's kind of my thought. There's a spare bedroom, or there's a boudoir. I think boudoir is probably fine. Yeah. And we can get some steps. And we can do this. That's the letter from Daniel. This is surprisingly unlocked. We're pretty good on gems. Not so good on anything else, really. Let's put a dark room here and then go back the other way. I think that is fine. Hello. Gotta pet the dog. Okay. I have looked in here pretty thoroughly, I think. And I've got to say, I don't know of anything else that I could possibly find in here. This seems fine. I've looked at this pretty thoroughly. Obviously, I pulled that little switch. Don't see any writing anywhere. Not even on the back of this little picture frame thing. Okay. Moving onward. Greenhouse might be good. I'm realizing now that darkroom is sheltered, so I could have just walked in there, and I don't need a utility closet or anything. Now furnace. Do I want furnace? It would be sheltered, so it would have no effect. Is that one that I want to go ahead and use that on? Probably not. Let's go ahead and get greenhouse. Okay, there's the south lever, yes. We don't have any water going in here. And everything looks pretty dry. Here's a shovel. But I can at least dig, which unlocks the doors. Okay, nothing to get from the soil. And here's the sheet music. Trees found inside will never shade. The gems that shine in night and rain. The clue you hold cannot be paid with gems nor coin, so toss away these sheets you find, a worthy trade. That's kind of a weird one. Trees found inside will never shade. The gems that shine in night and rain. The clue you hold cannot be paid with gems nor coin, so toss away these sheets you find, a worthy trade. Kind of weird, but that's fine. The glass is kind of broken in here. There's the statue. I think this window pane is just completely gone, I think. Huh. Okay. And there's also this in here, which there are these cut up letters, which do signify that Denny was probably the one who made that ransom note. But I'm not sure why he did that. Still. I found something that I knew could give me the chance to make back some of the money I felt was owed to me. And I grabbed the opportunity without really considering the consequences. Given that there is now only one missing file in the staff contracts, I have unwittingly left an incriminating trail leading directly back to me. My only hope is that they consider it too obvious to be plausible. I'm almost positive that I'm not going to get away with it, but at this point I feel I owe it to myself to get what's coming to me one way or another. So, felt like he was gypped out of the money from the gems that he created. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, let's keep going. We can put gymnasium here, that's fine. Probably should have looked around in there a little bit more, but I think we're fine. Don't see anything up there. There's not a lot of places to hide writing in here. Hoople. Forgot about that. Car keys. Very nice. Okay. Right. What do I want? Probably... Ooh, I just realized I sheltered the gymnasium. I am always forgetting about that. I definitely don't want to shelter the aquarium, though. So let's go ahead and put one of these there. Let's go ahead and put the utility closet there. Why not? And we'll do that. And that. And I don't need to mess with the dark room because it's sheltered. So now I'll head back that way. Let me look around in here a little bit more, just to make sure that I haven't missed anything. There's just some letters laying around, but I don't think this counts as a grid. There's some envelopes here, which is interesting. They're red envelopes. I am curious what mail he stole. Was it the red letters? And did they then go around sealing them in safes? Maybe. I think that's possible. Okay. Let's head back this way. Oh, this dog gets excited every time I walk in. Okay, anything in here in terms of letters and grids? Probably not, but does not hurt to check. I feel like I've looked around in here quite a few times and haven't really seen anything, so that's fine. Okay, and probably nothing in here either. There's a picture, but we've already looked at that a few times. Yeah, this all looks normal. Nothing written on the back of the screen or this mirror. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab the key. This is the code for the orchard gate. This is a picture of Clara Epson. Of her ladyship, yes. Her ladyship would be Clara Epson. Picture of maybe Hartley. That's the one that says that all memos in Hartley's room are always false. Green memos in Hartley's room are always false. which that is Hartley's room in the background, I think, because that's like the little bed in there. Yeah, pretty sure that's it anyway. Okay. We've also got these washed out pictures. Picture of Herbert with a Cinca camera, possibly taking a picture. It's a selfie, of course, a mirror selfie. I do wonder if there's anything to look at closer in this picture, just because it seems a little... First of all, it's a very clear image. And second of all, it's very oddly specific to be put in here, I think. Here are the drawings. There's another one with the code. There's another selfie. And there is just a picture of him. This is also the picture, I think, that gets put in the scrapbook. So that's probably where I got that. Okay. Continuing onward. Once again, don't want to shelter the aquarium, so we're just going to do a workshop here. That's fine. Let's grab the hammer. We can open the chests now that are at the entrance. The true box does not always contain the prize. That's true. It's a good point. Any letter grids in here? I feel like this would be a good candidate for a room to have a grid of letters somewhere. I don't know why I think that. It just seems like the type of thing that would be hidden someplace in here. Not really seeing anything. This is called a lathe. Thank you to the person who commented that. And it is the thing that I remember seeing in the room too, I think. So that's pretty neat. I'm actually trying to remember if it was the room 2 or the room 3, but it was one of those. Okay. Don't think there's anything in here. Let's do a hallway so that we can keep going. Yeah. Oh, it's a tomorrow room too. Forgot about that. Probably should be using my dice if I want to see more interesting rooms. That might be a good idea. But veranda's pretty nice. Especially now that I have a hammer and a shovel. I don't know if you can hear my cat. Probably. She's pretty loud. Okay, we can dig up here too. Veranda looking out over the west path, which is not really a path there yet because I haven't drafted a garage, but it is a path nonetheless. I don't see any writing. So we will continue forward. And, ooh, her ladyship's chamber. That's a good one. Sure, I'll take it. Not often I get to have one of these. So might as well. Does it never end? I don't know. So far it feels like no, it does not end. I'm sure it does at some point, but man, I've been at this for a long time. I don't see anything to interact with over here. I don't see any writing. There's a purple flag for Araja. That's nice. There's a queen. I already have that written down. I don't know if I need to be keeping track of black pieces versus white pieces, but someday I might go ahead and do that. There is the diary, the sleep diary. My dear diary, dearest diary. Okay. And then there's the map, which still does not quite make sense to me. Especially considering I have tried putting this room as the outer room, and it didn't seem like anything was different. So, not sure what to do about that. Maybe the master bedroom? I don't know. This is Simon. Maybe it's just been a while since I've seen my character Simon, but it does feel like he does look a lot like that Simon. Which is pretty neat. Assuming I'm remembering that correctly. I could not be. Okay. Continuing on. Use my last key. And I'm not a fan of any of these. So let's redraw. Could do a den here. Sure. Okay, are there any letters hidden in here? I feel like I've looked around in here quite a bit too. So maybe not. Big clock. Not seeing any letters hiding. Okay. Let's check the furniture real quick, and then we'll be on our way. Okay, let's head this direction. Could do spare bedroom. Could do courtyard. Courtyard probably has some stuff for us, so let's go ahead and take it. Metal detector, nice. And we can open this. Let's take the gems. Let's go ahead and dig some holes in the courtyard. And look around for letters. I'm not seeing any. If I look up, do I see anything? Not really. Okay. Let's keep it going. I need to get across. So I could do passageway, but that feels like kind of a waste of a passageway. Let's redraw again. I guess hallway is fine. And it refreshes my dice. So I will take it. Okay, could do a cloister. In fact, I do want a cloister so that I can look at that grid again. So let's do it. It's free. Okay, there's also a coin somewhere around here, probably. There it is. Let's dig. Can dig. Man, the kennel is super helpful because I have not really had any keys this whole time. And yet, we're doing all right for ourselves. Okay. You can't look at it too closely, unfortunately, but this has the C, X, E, and T. So I'll go ahead and take a picture of it. And so that tells me that the third column, the X is on the first row, and the T is on the last row. Which gives us, on the last row, ETT for all three letters, which means East in Arajan. So that probably is significant, especially since there are letters, there are cardinal directions on that puzzle in the tomb, which is what I assume these are clues for. Yep. Okay. That's that. And then from here, it would be nice to get a kitchen, or we've already done a pantry, or a furnace. Those are the ones that I would want. So, sure, we can redraw. Kitchen would be fantastic. Let's go ahead and do that. Main course has been permanently upgraded. Thank you. We've got that little thing right there. Just gonna look around a little bit more. There's something hanging from his hand. Seems like maybe a lantern or one of those like incense burner things. Not really sure. Some paper towels, there's a toaster, coffee maker, scale, no water. Yep, I wonder if I've completely drained the reservoir by now. I actually haven't checked. That's locked, that's fine, because this one over here is not. This would get us into the foundation. So would this probably. How many doors would this have? 1, 2, 3. So probably would get me in, but it's not guaranteed. Actually, this shelter might also be a mechanical room. So maybe it would be fine. Let's go ahead and take it. Yep. Seems like that worked out. Okay. Do I want to go into the foundation? Not right this second. Or maybe, yes, right this second. This one's unlocked. Okay. What do we want? Probably not laboratory or spare room. I guess we could do mail room. That wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Get an extra die. Okay. This seems like it might have a grid of letters somewhere. But man, it would be hard to find. This is the letter from Dad. Okay. Lots of locked mailboxes here, but I don't know of a way to open any of them. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not seeing any other grids of letters. Not that I can discern, anyway. Okay. In that case, let's go to the fountain. Sorry, the foundation. We should be able to unlock the doors in here. Yep. That'll work. I guess they weren't locked to begin with. Okay, we could go down the elevator. I don't feel like I need to. So let's go this direction instead. Or, why is that? Each time you dig in a room, unlock all doors in that room. Well, you'd think that would have unlocked these doors, since I dug twice. But maybe the foundation is somehow immune from that. Okay, well, I think that's it then. Pretty sure all these other doors are locked. I don't know if I've tried the den, actually. So maybe I can go do that. Not this way, but the other way. Yeah, let's go try the den. And if that's locked, then we'll call it a day, probably start a new run. Yep, okay. Is there anywhere I can call it a day that would help me? I don't have a break room. I don't have a whatchamacallit. Planetarium, that's what it's called. Good grief. I do have her ladyship's chamber, which I think starts me out with an extra star in the sky. So yeah, sure, I'll go call it a day in there. Why not? Need to get as many stars as I can. So we're at 67 right now. Let's call it a day in here. Yes. Okay, Garden Villa of Tomorrow. That was day 107. And it was not the biggest mansion we've ever made, but we got a treasure trove, which is mainly what I'm looking for. We still didn't get a library. Probably need to select blue in order to see one of those, but I don't necessarily want to do that until I've seen a treasure trove. So I think this time, once I see a treasure trove, I'll go ahead and select blue as my color. Unless I've already seen a library, then I guess I don't really care. Although it might be nice to get a pump room as well. So that would require a pool. And then a pump room, which are both blue. I guess her ladyship's chamber is also going to show up. Actually, I don't know how long the blessing lasts. I could already be done with the blessing of the monk, that is. So I'm kind of hoping it's done with because I would love to have all 3 outer room options. Nope, it's still going. That's on me for doing that. Okay, we've got 2 keys, we've got a compass, we've got a sleeping mask. And sure, I'll take all of them. And I'll take the allowance, and we'll go ahead and start with an outer room. I'm going to walk up to this door, and then I'm going to let my cat sit on my lap, because she really wants to. If I take Shrine, the only thing I can do is get cursed, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think I want to do that. I don't know if there's an advantage to being cursed. There might be an advantage to having the stone, based on the poem that I found, but I'm not sure what that would be yet. So I'm thinking it's a no for that one. Her ladyship's chamber doesn't seem to be that important here, so let's just do hovel instead. And we'll go ahead and look in here for any letters. Do we think we can break any of these down with a power hammer? These walls, I mean. I think it's possible, but not guaranteed. We've already looked at this. It's Denny Ravain's notes. I don't think there's anything to grab in here. There's no really obvious shovel that I see. Right? Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Gems, not a priority. Steps, yes, a priority. So we're going to make sure to get some bedrooms. Speaking of, could get this right off the bat. We don't need gems. Utility closet's probably a little more helpful, especially at the beginning. It would be really nice if my first bedroom was a nursery, so that all the other bedrooms can have some extra benefit. So let's do that. And continue onward. Actually, I need to take a break for a second. I'll be right back. Okay. I am back. Yes, that's right. Alright, yeah. Observatory would be great. Gotta get my star count up. Sorry, my cat is bothering me a little bit. Oh, She's rubbing it against the mic. That's nice. Yep. Okay, let me play with one hand for a second. There's some gems. There is a key. Okay. Yeah. Ooh. I don't like the way any of these are placed, but commissary is probably the most helpful. So let's do that. Okay. Anything grid-wise that I can see over here? I don't think so. Especially since my cat is in front of the screen. Makes it hard to see anything. But I don't think I see anything. Okay. So that's fine, and this seems fine. I've looked at this a couple times. Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead and get our magnifying glass. And sure, we'll get the rest of the stuff too. Other than gems, I don't need those. So I won't have them. Okay. Drawing room opens up our options quite a bit. So let's go ahead and take that. And I'll go ahead and take this gem, even though I don't need it. And we'll continue. We could redraw. We also have a foyer, which is pretty helpful early on. So I'll take it. Do I think there's anything for me to do in here? There's major key, which is still kind of suspicious. William Epson, Thomas Sinclair, which I think is Simon and Herbert's father. Count Gates, I don't know who that is. Edwin Sinclair is probably Thomas's father. Yeah. And Ariana would be Clara Epson's mother. That sounds right to me. Laboratory would be helpful. Let's go ahead and take it. Okay, don't see anything to pick up. Let's start an experiment. There's no draining the reservoir, so I'm assuming it's probably completely empty. Let's go ahead and unseal the antechamber doors. And we'll go ahead and do this as extra incentive to draft some bedrooms. Okay, let's log into network. Yes, there's this whole connecting sound, this whole loading time. Maybe that is what they're talking about in Blackbridge. Right, staff services. Ooh, new announcement. Tuesday, February 22nd. I don't have much to say, but I hope you are doing well, Simon. Kimberly, thank you. That's her name, Kimberly. Kimberly Thompson. I think I said Catherine, but it's Kimberly. Well, thank you, Kimberly. Let's see. Special orders. Yeah, we'll keep doing magnifying glass until we at least read a new clue again. And then we'll do this and this. Okay, keycard system is what I want, and I want to set it to high because I have a utility closet. And then we can, I guess, go ahead and view the inventory. That all checks out. Okay. Let's keep it going. Nursery would be fantastic, so I'll go ahead and take it. Yes, I have looked at this a few times. This might be a good place for like a grid of letters. Giant goose. I feel like there's a small one of these in the maid's chamber. Don't think that's relevant at all, but you know, it's fun. Okay, I'm not seeing any letters. Nope. Nothing. Some seahorses, though. Okay. Then we go back this way. And bedroom. Yeah, bedroom's fine. Let's take that. Antechamber door has been unsealed. Oh yeah, because hovel was already a bedroom. That's right. Okay. In that case, let's take breakfast nook. And I'll go ahead and eat this too. For the steps. Are there any letters hidden in here? I don't think so. Lots of books that I can't read. Okay. Treasure trove. Yes, please. Okay. Let's go ahead and open this. This is a blue trunk with a moon. Okay, there's a green memo in there, so let me look up if there's anything I need to know about blue trunk with moon. I don't think there's anything. Well, green memos and blue boxes are true. Okay, so this should be true. The last train has left the station. All right, good to know. Is there more to that than like what's the face value of the statement? The last train has left the station. Obviously the station is not in use anymore. I don't think there's anything beyond face value that I could take from this. Yeah, I think it's just here to make you think that maybe if you wait in the station long enough, you can catch a train, but unfortunately it is true that the last one has already left. So there's nothing to be done about that. Okay. We have already unsealed 2 antechamber doors. That's nice. We could unseal more. Or I can go ahead and choose blue here. And I think I will do that. Okay. Let's do dining room for the steps. I'll take that. Are there any letters in here? Thinking no. But I ought to check. Nope, don't see any. Do see a coupon book though. Okay. this would have 3 doors, which is exactly what I need. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. And go across. Sure. Dovecote is nice. Security is well placed. Study would give me a use for my gems. Yeah, let's get study. I think that would be a nice way to use all these gems that I have. There are lots of grids in here. Or there's at least one grid. I don't know about anything else, though. What's this letter? M, be prepared for our plans. Yeah, that's from Caleb. Okay. Fabricate some fiction that might alleviate us of the presence of the servant staff. So what fiction was that? Not sure. Yeah, this is all pretty normal. Still kind of curious about these arrows, but I think it's just part of the art style. Could be very wrong about that, though. Okay, not really seeing any other grid-like things, so let's keep going. Sure, we'll use a key. This would trigger the experiment again, so let's go ahead and do it. Also good for steps. Nice. Okay. I've definitely looked in here very thoroughly, and I have not seen any grids of letters, so not gonna try to look for that again. Ooh, I really don't know if I want to look through the entire basement. That seems like a whole thing. Key, nice. Something I do want to do is go back to the tunnel with the blue door, because I haven't been there in a while. So that might be something for me to do. I'd love to go downward from here, and I also need a library, so we're gonna redraw. Pool is also something I need, so I'll take that. Yeah, I don't want to use my keys on that. So we're gonna head this way. Ooh. That's a tough one. Actually, it's not. I want to redraw. Could do gallery. Yeah, it gets me where I want to go. Okay, I'll take those and those. And there are definitely a lot of letters in here, but I don't know if any of them would be part of a grid at all. No, doesn't look like it. Okay. I don't like these. Let's redraw. Huh. Don't love these either. Man. Why will they not give me a library? That's the real question. I don't know why. Why was there fire there? That was weird. It's like it oriented itself with this being at the doorway and then immediately switched around. Very odd. Okay, I don't know why I chose this. But it's fine. I think it's because, do I get 8 redraws every room? I assumed it was 8 total after getting the study, but it seems like every time I draft, I get 8 chances. So I think that's why I took the gems. I'll go with that. Library. Let's take it. Okay, we have a magnifying glass, and we have a new clue. Okay. Yes, I'm the only one who has checked this out. Where are the page numbers? That's the real question. Is this page 1 the title page? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, it's probably one of these, right? One, two, three, four, five, six. Actually, this does look like the castle puzzle, doesn't it? Yeah. So, is there a grid on here with letters? That would be helpful. There's a candle. There's another candle. There's a statue of Orinda with the scepter. I don't see any letters except for keep left. But that doesn't really fit in the grid. I mean, that really does look like, I mean, that's a 3x6 grid, which is exactly what I'm working with. But there are no other letters. There's something that looks like a castle. There are 2 candles. I wish I knew where to start counting, because it could also be this, in which case, I mean, there's plenty of stuff on here. Corner cases. Library and parlor are not checked off. Dead end. Dead cases. Laboratory closet. Attic. Furnace. Solarium. And then this is the suspect list. I don't know if I've tried any of these other ones as names. But Bo Lee is definitely one of the ones that works. Anything else? I don't think so. And I don't think there's any writing on this page, but it comes back later and there's plenty of writing there. So that's probably the one I'll want to look at. Yeah, so if this is page 1, which is not usually the case, then this would be page 6. If this is page 1, which might be the case, then this is page 6. Which, that is very suspicious right there. But it doesn't really give me anything else to work with. This one doesn't seem to have anything. He looked under beds and in nooks. He questioned the maids, he questioned the cooks. It was already over when he spoke to the chauffeur, who told him new clues were found only in books. And we know that. Okay, yes, these are the books with different titles, but they're just kind of rearranged letters. That's the Red Prince. That is whatever the green book is. Realm and Rune. That is a new clue, and that is the one about the stars, I think. Right? I don't remember. The fixed stars, yeah. We've got these. Which are the clocks that are in room 46, actually. There are 2 clocks arranged just like this in room 46. That's interesting. Okay. Not really sure what to do about that, though. And there's lots of stuff on here. There's Mary Mary. Draft of the 6s becomes the fixed stars. Right and right. Not sure about that one. That I is kind of weird, though. And also kind of weird that it's an R and an I that are capitalized and a W and an R that are capitalized. But then all these other ones are lowercase. Is that important somehow? Let me look at my grid. It doesn't look like it goes there. So I'm not sure about that. Lore means word. That is confirmed. LOR equals word. JOR equals name. Gates and gates. Yes. Okay. This all seems pretty normal. Let me read the words here. He changed all the letters in the lines that he found. He checked all the colors of the spines that were bound. He doubled the meaning of each seasonal greeting and found that the diction of each word was sound. Yes. The sounds of the word. Mary, Mary. Yep. Okay. This is the clue about the jar that's in the entrance. You can smash it with a hammer. There's a sign that says record, but that seems to be all that's in here. He stayed up all night and studied the maps. He laid out the floor plans and measured the gaps. And if his directory was considered a trajectory, it was nothing short of a full mental lapse. Directory. Interesting. Okay. A man obsessed in Cuckoo 2. Two cuckoos? There's two of those in room 46. They would say, as he would wander through, the best medicine is not yet evidence. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. He has all 4 books. There's all these people. There's a sign that says each. Okay, I don't think there's much to gain from the picture in here. But these words are definitely interesting. A man obsessed and Cuckoo 2. Okay. Having read this book so many times, having scoured over each of its cryptic lines, have you exhausted your search? Have you seen all the signs? I have seen all the signs. I know what that does. There's a picture that's in the safe house. It is of, presumably, Mary, Caleb, and Philip. There is the picture that's in the ballroom, I think, which would be of Clara and Simon. And there is a picture that's in the shelter. Okay. There's lots of writing in here. Dead end is major key. C. Yeah, that's dead end. Right. On the map. Covers. Assume page count starts on title pages. See, that's interesting, because they said page 6 has a secret. There's the metro map. Major stops, sure. And that's the office. Suspect is minor, true. Suspect is major, true. Suspect is minor, false. Suspect is a key. Admin key, yes. There's the remote terminals. Sure. Have I tried using admin keys on the normal network? I don't know. I don't know if I've tried any that actually work, like in Blackbridge. Or is there perhaps something new, something overlooked but now in view? Have you finally found it? Could it really be true? If it's a new clue, you know what to do. Okay, assuming title page is page 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had looked high and low in all of the rooms. He had searched every corner in each of the tombs. In this particular case, he had checked every space. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. I'm going to take a picture of this whole thing so that I have it. And maybe I'll think of something. Maybe something to do with the tomb. Maybe something to do with like the tomb with the castle puzzle. Maybe the corners in there. There are the puzzles along the walls. So maybe that has something to do with something. In this particular case, he had checked every space. Every space. What does that mean? I don't know. It's too confusing. There's too much going on. Yeah. A man obsessed in Cuckoo 2 just seems too well worded. Especially since they already showed 2 cuckoo clocks. Still unsure about these blank books. I feel like they're important. They're the only blank books in the entire game, and there's a whole important clue about blank books. I could also be wrong that they're the only ones in the entire game, but that's kind of how I feel. Okay, so that's a new clue. I found a new clue and I don't know what to do, is the unfortunate truth of the matter. But that's all right. We'll figure it out. Let's go ahead and get some keys in here. Prism key, probably not very useful when I have blue selected. And I don't think I've seen any letters in here. I've looked around quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, could do morning room. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Are there any letters in here? Probably not. Some dice. That's helpful. I could actually use a special key in here. I think that would be fine. Yeah, I was thinking veranda would be nice right here. Sure, let's do it. Okay, there's a tin can. There's some coins, and I can't open this. At least I could, but I'd have to use my last key. Rumpus room or kennel? Probably kennel. I think that would be helpful. I do want a pump room eventually, but I'm kind of going for straight across rooms right here. Yep, okay. And conference room would be totally fine right here. So let's do that. Okay. Yeah, nothing to pick up. That's fine. Den would be nice. And then I would love a pump room. Walk-in closet might also be really nice, so let's take that. Ooh, telescope. Okay. Planetarium. Top priority now. Very nice. Okay. So I'm gonna use lots of redraws to try to get one of those. Or a pump room. Either one would be totally fine. I might need to be higher up though. But it's fine. I've got plenty of gems. Yeah, I don't want any of those. Yes, there we go. Thank you, and let's do it. It's been so long, I don't remember the planet names. I'm not going to try to predict what this is. Mamora. Guiding light. What does Mamora mean? That one would be small world, maybe? My Rajan notes are in my photos because I just took a picture of the whiteboard. So Ma would mean, yes, small. And I think Mora probably means world. Okay, anyway, guiding light. Interesting. Starting tomorrow, each planetarium will contain 1 ivory die. Nice. I like it. Okay. Thank you, Mamora. And how many... I mean, I've got, what, 4 planets now out of the 5? But one of them is just Mora, right? So I'm not sure if that one is one that I can get. I'm also not sure if I can get the moons. The Wandering Moon and the... Is it the Wandering Moon? Or am I getting that from another game? Not sure. I feel like I've been pretty thorough in here, but I will check for letters. Nope, don't see any. Okay. I mean, there is a big E, but I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. Okay. Nice. Glad we got that. From here, let's go to the foundation. Oh, almost forgot. The most important part. Okay. Through here. And through here. Nice. Okay. Right. I want a pump room. So I'm fine with just redrawing until I get one. Although it would probably be better placed in the aquarium, but it's fine. And I do have a pool, so I should have a pump room in my... There it is. Okay, what does this look like now? Oh, there's definitely water in there. Huh. Maybe it got refilled? Up to 6. Which is the exact height you need to get into the safe house, I think. So maybe that's all you need. Like I could keep that in there, or I could fill the kitchen, fill the greenhouse maybe. Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can continue to drain it or not, but I'll leave it there for now. I think that's fine. That does give me some information. What do I want to do from here? I feel like I've done everything I need to do today. Guess I could go for like a break room or something. Although honestly, planetarium is probably where I really want to call it a day. I guess let's just keep going. Yeah, that'll work. Is there anything... The sum of my sin as it is penned. I think the sum of the letters, right? Yeah. Anything else to be seen in here? Anything on the backs of these? The elephant belongs in this bin. Yep. I think I've seen that one before. And everything else seems fine. Okay. I mean, I could do this again to get more allowance, but honestly, that takes a lot of time. I mean, it probably wouldn't if I wrote down the solution and just copied it down every time, but it's fine. Okay. That's fine. Staff contracts are no longer kept on the highest rank. Probably because of Denny Ravane. Okay, let's do this. There's an X. I've already forgotten what that means, but maybe that we just ignore it. So 19 times 8? No, sorry, it's just 19, because those all have X's on them. This would be -4 plus 15 is 11. Rounded to the nearest 10 would be 10. Okay, cool. We've still got this, which is surprisingly still hard to see since that update they did. I'm assuming that's what made it hard to see. Hanging out here, once again, really reminds me of the good old days that the mice will play. No idea. No idea. Okay, well, I don't think there's another grid or anything in here. So let's just head into the antechamber. I think we do get an allowance. Nope, I did not get a quest bedroom today. Unfortunate. Okay. I can... Sure. Vault is an option. I can look in there, sure. Grab all these for no reason. I can look at this again. Yep, and this is all the ones that leave me with the message that still water tints blank books. But I don't know what that means, or how to use that information. Which is unfortunate. North door is still locked. I would need another bedroom, which I'm probably not going to get at this point, so... unfortunate. Sure, we can do conservatory. Yeah, might as well. Okay, and let's look at these. Master bedroom. I mean, yeah, we can make that unusual. That's fine. It only shows up in the east wing anyway, I'm pretty sure. Dormitory is fine. Although, honestly, it's kind of hard to pull off. Let's do that. Let's make this a little more common. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, we could do locker room. I could at least take a picture of that one thing. Is there a key lying around in here? Maybe not. Oh, you know what? All the keys got spread to the conference room. I think it's this one. Yep. Okay. And this would be... Actually, I might already have a picture of this. I do. Yep. Okay, but it does line up with what I have written down, which is that the S of castle is followed by IX, and then below that is OR, and below that is another O. Okay. And then there's another one of those in Blackbridge. Okay, that's locked. That's fine. And I could go up from dining room. And that'll be the last thing I do. Maybe I'll try to redraw until I get a bedroom again. I could also go to the left from here. Although that would be a lot of turning, so I don't really want to. Kind of needing to call it a day in real life, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up really quick. I can go ahead and eat this just for fun, or I can just press back. You know what? I don't need it anyway. It's fine. And that's locked anyway. I guess I should try to rotate that one place. Whoa, that's cool. Sure, let's rotate. And again. Trying to see if there's anything hidden on the walls behind the little columns. I don't think I saw anything. Okay, that's also locked. Alrighty, let's go back to the planetarium and call it a day in there. I have to look at how to get over there, though. That's going to be through here. Can't open any trunks, that's fine. Could probably make it out to the tunnel, but I can just as easily do that another day. This is not the way to go. It is all the way up. Ooh, I don't know if I can make it anymore, but we'll see. Should be fine. Okay, all the way through here. Do I get more steps for petting the dog? No, that's okay. I'll do it anyway. Lots of keys in here, actually, so I probably could have come back and gotten those, but I'm not very particular about opening up the other rooms. So we are just going to call it in here. Yep. Alrighty. Garden Hunting Lodge of Unfathomable Riches. Vault, treasure trove, and trophy room. I guess all count as riches. That's cool. I don't think I've ever gotten an Unfathomable Riches title, so that's fun. Cool. We got 2 treasure troves. They did not have the most useful information. I'm trying to remember what yesterday's even said. It was a red memo that was handwritten. I'm sure it said something that I already knew, but I'll go back and check it in my footage. And then the other one was about the last train having left the stop. So, that's fine. We also got a planetarium, and we're able to bring a telescope to it, which was awesome. We got Mamora, and now there will be an ivory die in there every time. So that was a fun little thing that I'd kind of forgotten we were trying to get to, but I'm glad we got to do it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like or a positive comment, because that really helps me out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye!